work-life balance. That's when you work so much you forget you have a life, right?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
What the fuck?
I don't know what else to say.
You are the king of not having work-life balance, so
I
not
am.
lately.
I am. That's very true.
Let's get on with this.
Legit no idea where that just went. But it's okay. I have another one, although without a stick. Because I haven't put the stick in it yet. Shit! Okay, let's two on the floor. I've got another stick. I have another stick. We'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. Anyway. There's no another on the floor.
You're delirious.
I am. Hello and welcome to Two Sides of the Pond, where I have one flag and one pole. My name is Matthew.
And I'm
this
Dwayne.
is Dwayne. And we're talking about work-life balance, and I have gone insane. So let's get started.
Because you don't have work-life balance. Not lately.
I don't. I used to be a lot worse, to be fair. I'm a lot better these days. Believe it or not,
Yeah.
I'm a lot better with balance, yes. I used to do nothing but work. Nothing but work. I need to pick up these flags before I fall over, and because they're circular, so I'll roll and fall out the window. And it's a long way down. I'm quite high up.
Okay. Well, all right. So work-life balance. One of the things that I find amazing about the UK and other countries besides anywhere but the United States is that you guys average 28 paid days off.
Yeah.
A year. We get maybe 10.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's crazy. It really, really is. And I think that was a part of my New Year's resolution of having a work-life balance. I need to organize more. What are you doing?
Nothing. Continue.
No, I need more. I definitely need more. I'm not looking at you anymore. Oh my God. Because this is work. As fun as it is, this is work for us, and the aftermath that a lot of people don't see is a lot of work. And I will be putting in even more towards this podcast as the year goes on, outside of recording with you. And you've got a lot going on. I have a day job. I'm afraid to see where you're going to stick that pole next. God.
In my ass.
Oh, you're driving me nuts. Oh my God. Today is a day. So I really am. I'm not looking at you anymore. Oh my God.
You hurry the fuck up and say what you want to say.
No, you're having a little 10-second party over there all by yourself. That's great.
10 seconds.
No, I will say people in the US are afraid of taking time off, mainly because they're afraid of losing their job.
Yeah, because very much the culture out there, isn't there? Of,
yes,
if you're not performing, you're just given the boot.
And you're expected to answer emails. I get text messages from my day job on days off when I'm not clocked in. And if I have 2 days off in a row, God forbid I don't answer a text message, I'm getting follow-up text messages 24 hours later. Checking in on this. My job is not that serious, mind you. My job is not that serious that you need to be bothering me when I am not clocked in. So... But you have multiple things going on in your life besides this podcast and a day job, and you have people relying on you. So I can't imagine how you would have a little bit more of a work-life balance.
I travel a lot. I have the flexibility of working wherever I want to work, and that helps with the balance. So, although, yes, I am working, it's a little bit different though, because when you're doing your own thing, when you're running your own business, it is very, very busy, but it's your own thing. So, it doesn't feel as bad compared to working for another company and working for idiots that don't know what the fuck they're doing and then making outrageous demands of you or just making your life a living hell. Right? It's very, very different, of which I've experienced both sometimes at the same time. But I think me being able to travel around and see the world and do stuff. I remember when I first started doing this, it was when Connor lived with me, and we just sort of jokingly said, "Oh, we should just jump on a plane and go somewhere." This was when the war, I think, began between Russia and Ukraine, which resulted in fuel prices going through the roof, and it was cheaper to get on a plane to Malaga, which is south of Spain. It's about a 2-hour flight from where I live, than it was to fill my car with fuel or gas for the Yanks amongst us. And yeah, so we just did that. We just jumped on a plane to Malaga, spent a week there, got this amazing Airbnb. We had no idea what we booked as well. When we found that, I don't think it's even an Airbnb, it may have been on booking.com, but we rocked up and were shown the place by the person that owns it or whatever, the landlord. And we were wandering around, and it was a 2-story duplex. Kitchen, living room, aircon, 2 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, whatever the fuck it was. And we were like, did we buy this? Is this what we booked? Because none of us remembered what we actually fucking got, but it was incredible. And we're about a 15-minute walk away from the beach. So every day after work, we would then just walk down to the beach and have a wander around, and it was lovely and warm, and it was great. It was great. It was so much better than just the usual shit we have back at home. So yes, still working, but the scenery was different. The food choices were different. The weather was different. So that helped. And that's what I then started to do a lot more of was those sort of trips. Because, it's the sort of the best middle ground that I'm going to get with all the things that I'm doing. And I do want to get to the point where I'm able to slow down. I don't know if I ever will, because I think the more spare time I have, the more things I'll get involved in, because that's just me. I'm hardwired that way. But I do want to get to the point where I can delegate a lot more of the work to other people rather than spread myself so thinly across stuff. But because things are newer and more fragile, it requires me to spread myself more thinly to get things into a better place. But I'm hoping it's not always like that.
Well, here in the United States, we have the saying where you hustle and grind, which basically means you just keep working, and that becomes your life. So there is no work-life balance if you want to move up where you're at in the company. And what people don't realize is there is that step, like you hit a ceiling, and the ceiling that you're talking about is where you're at now, where the next step you really have to push and go like 2 flights up to be able to get to the point where you are the person sitting back and trusting other people to do the work for you that you're doing now in this
and it's very difficult
moment
as well.
in time.
It's very difficult to get to that point of trusting people to do things as well as what you do, if not better. Doing it better is obviously ideal, because then you can really trust them to own it and run with it. But if they can't even do it as well as you, it's a real headache, because you just end up just unable to trust them with what they're doing and having to look so closely at what they're doing.
Well, look at the term president, right? Look at the president of the United States. They don't do a whole lot. They hire people around them, to the professionals, the professionals, the specialists that will be able to do the work for you, and you're trusting them, and you're just overseeing that. Same thing with presidents of companies. Once you get to a certain point, you become the president of something, managerial level above that, what you are at. that's when you are able to do that. And I know I have a lot of trust issues that people aren't going to do things the way I would necessarily do it. Hell, this just happened the other month for Christmas cards here in my own home. Sounds sounds really weird, but um, I sent out Christmas cards this past holiday season, and I wanted to be there to be able to do that but my life wouldn't allow it. So my husband did it for us, and it was okay. Well, these are the people we came up with the list. I said, fill out the cards. I'll sign my name and overlook them, oversee, make sure they're correct. I go, when you're addressing this person, make sure you use these words, X, Y, and Z. So when it finally came down to me finally having time to sign the cards, I said, hey, I'm ready to look over the cards and sign them and put my own signature on them. He goes, I sent them out the other day already. They're done. I signed your name. I can scribble a deed just as well as you can. It's fine. Now I had this anxiety that he had called, he forgot to add the kids to the card, or when he was addressing them, or he didn't use the right words, because I have that trust issue. And I know you have a trust issue with things like that as well.
I do. Yeah. Yeah, what I hate, especially when it comes to business, is I hate surprises. And I've been having this quite a lot recently when, because I have things in place. We have work tracking tools. We have meetings to talk about what's been going on and what's still to do. And are we on track? Are we not on track? Why? The whole point is to keep everyone on the same page of what's going on. And if there are problems, we can address those problems and tackle them together as a team. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm being told week in, week out that things are fine, things are on track, things are done, blah, 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 and I'm believing that, I'm trusting that. And then I'm just looking at a few things or improving a few things, and I stumble across loads of things that have not been done, even though I was previously told it was done.
Mm-hmm.
I get very, very irritated because it's not what I was expecting. So already it over exaggerates and blows up the situation because it's a surprise to me. So I'm just instantly pissed off that I've not been told of this at the point of when things were not being done. Instead, I have to find out myself that things are not been done. And then when I question about it, it's like I was saying, oh yeah, got a bit of catching up to do on that. To be fair, I thought it wasn't as high priority, so I put it on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, since when do you feel it is acceptable to make such a decision on your own and then hide it from the rest of the team? And this is what's very frustrating. Like, I do believe in autonomy within teams, and people should be able to, do their job without having to get permission from other people. But there's still limits to that. You still have a boundary of which to operate in for your role, and it is important to communicate what is going on so other people are aware. So for example, a lot of work that we have going on, I don't care how the work is done or in which order or what process you follow, but what I do care about is that it is done in time for the delivery date that we've all agreed to on our release tracker. So when things are not being done to achieve that, you don't have any right to make your own decisions on what to do about that. That is when you've got to speak up so the rest of the team are aware of what the fuck is going on, right? So that's where it gets very, very challenging, where people go, to sort of keep things to themselves and hide stuff, and then it just ends up pissing me off even more when I find out. And it's like, you've got to stop doing that, because the whole point of you being here is to support me, to make my life easier, not harder. Right. If it's making my life harder, it won't last very long. Because what's the point? There's no point.
So, do you find yourself with going back on that? Kind of like you have an OCD, you would prefer it being done a certain way, even though it sounds like the right thing to say. That, oh, as long as you get the job done and it's done correctly, I don't care how you do it. And then you look back and you're like, oh, why'd you do it like that?
Not really. So I do have OCD. I am a perfectionist on things, but I don't mind how things are done, but I too do care about the quality. So because of that, there are processes put in place to ensure certain levels of quality.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, that is just doing the work properly. So for example, we have a lot of stuff where there's certain like naming conventions that we need for certain things, and I expect that to be followed because that is the policy that we've applied to these certain products. So you can't change that. If you want to change that, you've got to bring an idea to the table for all of us to discuss, and then we'll decide as a team, or I will make an executive decision depending on whatever. But you can't just change it on your own back. And this is what I mean by the boundaries of which to operate in. Because for me, consistency is very, very important. I want things to look the same and throughout its entire lifetime, unless there is a specific reason for a change. And we might have this at some point with this podcast. We have a thing where we always have the same way of starting. We have our intros, we have our outro, we have a certain style of thumbnails. It's all very, very consistent. Now, it doesn't mean it can never change, but if it is going to change, there's going to be a conversation around that and a certain trigger point when the change happens. And then it must remain consistent from there on, because I like consistency in things looking a certain way, because your users or your customers or whatever it is come to know a certain standard and a certain level of quality. So that stuff I care about, and I look quite closely into that sort of work. The same with a lot of stuff that we do. We have you're aware, we have a quality control process.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be multiple eyes on something before it goes out to the public. Doesn't matter what it is. For example, I edit these podcasts, but I don't watch them back because I've edited them. It's too easy for me to miss things if I watch them back and do a quality check, because I've spent the hours stitching it all together and stuff, and at that point I'm very pissed off with seeing this stuff. So that gets passed to somebody else to be like, here is the complete thing. Check it to make sure that it's all okay, all the audio is okay, I haven't made a mistake, and it is release worthy. And it's the same that we apply to everything, especially with a lot of the software stuff we do. A lot of the software coding, there's always somebody else that reviews the work to make sure that things aren't missed. That's the quality control, to make sure that the processes that we have been followed.
Where does your work-life balance happen then? Because it's so hard being self-employed to lose that, because there are times when we're talking and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, like, you're working, like right before you go to bed, sometimes right when you wake up, sometimes when I wake up, like, so do you ever think you need or will need to be able to sit down? Because this is where I struggle, where you sit down and say, okay, from 9 to 5 I am working on this, and then from 5 to 7 there's this, from 7 to 8 I have this, and then my night routine starts from 9 to 10, my personal stuff that I'm doing, and be able to fit it all in. Because with programming, you can just whip out your laptop and just start working when the moment hits you.
A lot of it is like that for me. I don't have much of a routine per se. There is some level of routine, like when I take a break for lunch, or when I cook myself a meal of an evening and then stick the TV on for an hour and watch something. But a lot of what I do is reliant on creative juices that flow, and I don't have much control as to when they will flow. And this is where you'll see me jump around between different things, because it'll depend on what my mind is thinking about. At some point, I'll have just a crazy amount of fixation on something, so I'll take advantage of that, and I'll go for it and work in whatever my mind is currently focused on. And then if it jumps to something else, then I'll flow with it. I very much go with the flow. But yeah, sometimes I'll have some sort of weird bit of motivation on something new and experimental, and so I'll just let that take over, and I'll just spend a bit of time doing this thing. I've done that before, and it's really helped, because it's helped sort of be applied in other areas, which has made things more efficient or faster or whatever, or it's helped to explain some unknowns on some future projects. But Yeah, I very much just let things flow whichever way they want to. I don't try and fight against that, which I quite like.
Well, I'm working with my coach right now on looking at things, blocking my day out by hours because my schedule changes rather frequently. I'm trying to now add in coffee with a friend, dinner with a friend every so often. I'm trying to do that with you a little bit, actually. I don't know if you've
Or coffee and
realized
dinner with
or
me.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not trying very
Um,
hard. We haven't done that yet.
well, we do have a pond between us. But yeah,
We do.
I
Guess what?
mean, something a little more like what we had a couple of months ago, where, all right, well, we watched a movie together,
Oh shit!
you
Yeah, we did.
know,
Yes.
and I found that very entertaining and very relaxing. And it literally had nothing to do with work.
Mm.
Absolutely nothing to do with work. And I enjoyed that. But then there are days like um, we record in blocks. That's not a secret. So we have to put aside like one time a week, several hours
Yeah,
to be
it's like
able
a
to do
3-4
this.
hour chunk of time. Yeah.
Right. So while we're doing that, we have to find a time that works for you, works for me. So our schedules are all over the place. But there needs to be that balance between my day job, this, family life, and personal life. It's not just work and life. Life has a bunch of different levels. And in our cases, work has a bunch of different levels. It's not just, oh, when I'm clocking in and clocking out, it's not just that. It's when I'm clocking in for this job and clocking out for that job. And then there's when I'm clocking in with you and when I'm clocking out with you. And I do my own part to this adventure that we have together. I do that without you. So I have to like block time for that throughout the week. So I think it's very interesting that it's just something that needs continual tweaking as time goes on because I have, if you're not careful, you're going to lose your way. And then something falls by the wayside.
Mm.
Things have fallen on the wayside over the past couple of months for me that I'm not happy about, that I need to get back on track. But then I think, well, when am I going to do that? And that's why I'm working with my coach on finding those things and finding a way to put it in every single day. Like you go for an hour walk at night,
Mm.
sometimes when you feel
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, it's usually quite often, although not so much now because it's cold as shit and I can't bother to get my tits cold. So I just sort of stay indoors. But I have done over the past 5-6 months, I've done a heck of a lot of exercise. And I even got complimented as well the other day to say that I look very well. I look very healthy. So,
Okay,
yay.
good.
Happy days. Someone
Yeah.
recognized I don't look like I'm dying, which, I guess is what I used to look like, I suppose, before someone's now said I look quite healthy. So, it's this
I
double-ended
hate when
sort of thing,
people
isn't
do
it?
that. I hate when people do that.
Yeah.
That is such a horrible thing.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're looking good now. You look like a bag of fucking shit before, but
Yeah.
now you look good. Well done, you. Yes.
I would be more okay if people said you look better or you look
Yeah.
healthier, instead of jumping right to you look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I did something for me recently that I haven't done in 12 years. I got myself a massage.
Did you?
And yes, I did. And it's a part of the self-love journey that 2025
Yeah,
is going to
your
be
New
a part
Year's
of.
resolution.
Yeah.
So starting off well then.
Yeah, I am. It's a part about blocking out your day, and I've done it more times than not, which is good. But it's so easy to fall off the wagon on so many things. It's easy to fall off the wagon for I should be having a night routine that usually lasts about half an hour, but I block an hour out of my night to do it just in case. And of course, you want to get paid on your day job. And then there are times during the month that you have to look at your finances. So, and that always gives me anxiety having to look at that, focusing on what your actual weekly goals are, what personal ones and work ones, professional ones. Have you done anything like that? Like, I am always amazed by your lifestyle. And I always ask questions that are very out there, I guess, to you. Um, because I want to know more about you. I mean, that's what this is all about. Um, so there are times when I ask you things like, uh, how often do you cook? Because I know how much you do.
Fuck my ass. Sorry, my camera died again.
It's fine.
That's just really out of pocket. Sorry, it's really, really wild. That was just unhinged. Sorry. Oh, that tickled me in the nutsack.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So
I need a white flag to give up rather than this one.
As long as you're not farting again, we're good.
Give me time.
Now, I will ask you things like, do you have a washer dryer? When do you find time to wash your clothes? Is that like a scheduled thing? You're like, oh, when I need to.
Yep,
when I need to, I do it. And I'm like, okay.
It's usually weekends, but yeah, it is whenever. It's not every weekend because it's just me in this place. So it just I wait until there's enough of a load to throw in the washing machine.
Yeah, if I had to do everything on my own, my kid called me the other day and said to me, I used to look at people, not me, my kid used to look at people who had dirty homes or dishes in the sink, overweight, people, I used to look at those people and think they were just lazy. And now they're in this situation where they have dirty dishes in the sink. They work 6 days a week. Their home is their living space is a bit messy, and they were out grocery shopping talking to me, and they don't get a chance to talk to me as often as they would like or I would like because they have all these things going on in life. And they're like, no, it's just life that happens. And I go, well, add on having a pet. How about having kids? I had 2 kids, a pet, and I was a single dad, working full time, taking care of my 2 crazy ass children who were always seemed to be having issues in school all the time, paying the bills. Like, there's so many different things that you do that you are in charge of, making sure the dogs up on their shots and are being taken care of multiple times a day, giving them attention and the love they deserve and need. So there's so much. And I kind of feel like now that my kids are out and now that I only have one dog right now, and I have a partner and one full-time job, I kind of felt like I lost myself because I did have a little bit of time, or I had this extra time where, all right, now I can have a life. Now I can work on something. And I have absolutely no idea what I want to work on because I've lost me in the whole idea of work. Because they say, like, parenting is a thankless job. They say parenting is, a job that you don't get paid for. But as fulfilling as it is, it fills your heart, not your wallet. When that stuff is gone and dissipates, you're like, oh crap, now I have to work on me. Now I have all this time to do. And that's partially where this podcast came from, a conversation that we had. And then you start adding more and more and more stuff to it. And then you find yourself back in the situation of, what am I doing for me? I have a gym membership for over 2 years. I've gone twice in 2 years because I like the idea that it's a possibility. Like, because in my head, the perfect person wakes up at this time of the day, does their skincare and personal hygiene needs, and then goes to work. And then when they're done, they work on themselves mentally and physically. Then they're working on eating well. They're working on their extracurriculars. They're working on their passion project, which for me is this. And then they have their wind down routine. And somewhere in there, they have their group of friends that they go out to brunch with on Sundays on their day off. That's not realistic. So all the TV shows that show a group of friends doing things like that, I don't know anybody who actually lives like that. And if they do, it's because all they have going for them is a full-time job or a job, maybe. So I'm looking forward to getting that work-life balance going. It's not just about work, and life is multi-layered. People say to me, "Oh, you're so lucky to have a partner, someone to come home to. You're not alone. You have someone to help you with things." Well, my situation with that. It's not always like that.
No.
So
grass isn't always greener.
No, it's not. And I wish people would actually realize that. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And you wonder why I drink so much coffee a day.
Yes. Yes. Coffee or Coke on the way to work or on the way back from work, or both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which that's got to stop too. I'm a human fucking pincushion now too. Like, we talked about that as well. Like, weekly, I have health things that I'm taking care of as well, physically. There's just so much going on, but where's the fun time? Even this trip in April that I'm going on isn't completely going to be all fun. It's going to be, I'm looking forward to it to be a great time, but we are working while we are there.
Yeah. This is the thing. I think it's going to be a lot of that with a lot of things that we do. It is going to be for work. We can have fun along the way, but we're also going to be, vlogging things and creating content, and then, experiencing things so we can then talk about it on the podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. I used to do a gaming channel back in the day. And creating let's plays and other various bits and pieces and whatnot, and it really changed how I enjoy gaming, to the point that I don't game anymore. I suck the fun out of it, because it went from being a something that you have fun with, something that you relax doing, to a job where you're having to ensure you're making entertaining content. You have to be careful what you say, because we all know what I'm like. And back in the day, I was trying not to be too outrageous when it came to the shit I was saying while I was playing a game. But it does, it ruins it. You end up really, really burning out, because you played this game, but you weren't able to appreciate the story or anything of it, because you were too busy making content and then editing it all and stuff. And I was releasing videos every single day. So every week I was recording hours of content. I was editing hours of content. I was leaving the laptop on overnight, getting the electricity bill going through the roof, rendering these videos. This is back in the day when the hardware was nowhere near as good as what it is now, where I can do a video in 10 minutes. Back in the day, it used to take about an hour to render a video. Every episode used to take an hour to render, and then uploading it on internet, that was so much slower. That would take forever to do. It's so much going on. And that is one of the reasons why I don't game these days, because I just can't get back into it. I cannot get back into that fun, chilled, relaxing way of doing something, because I just suck the fun out of it.
I think a part of the United States culture, which really has hurt me deeply, is that if I'm doing something and if there is no positive, productive outcome, what is the point?
Mm.
I feel like, okay, I'm going to read this book. Well, why? What am I going to do with that information after I'm done with it?
It's similar with me. I think this is where I struggle to do things that don't actually result in some sort of gain, because I also can't switch my mind off. So I'm automatically thinking of stuff from a business point of view, from a creative point of view, from projects that could be started and worked on and blah, blah, blah. It's very hard for me to spend too much time doing something which isn't productive because I feel like I'm wasting time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm limited to how much time I have on this rock. And I have so much I want to achieve. And I know, which is the thing that is a real struggle for me, I know that I'm going to die long before I get things to where I ultimately want it to be. You know, when you look at other organizations that we want to go up against, they've been around for 100 years or more. You know, I don't have the years in me to get it to that level. You know, it might not even be possible, but if it is, I don't have the time available. There's
But you
so much
can't
that I want to do.
think like that. See,
But it's hard
what
not
it
to.
comes down to is when you think about it, and I heard this a while back, and it really does resonate with me, and it's stuck in the back of my head for a very long time, that when you stop learning, when you stop producing, and then you're done. You might as well just die. You know, and I think it's the same thing you have to start thinking about when you're not ever going to get things to the point where you want them to be, but as long as you keep moving forward, you have a reason to wake up tomorrow.
Yeah, so I'm always going to keep going. I'm never going to retire. I'm never going to stop. I'm never going to sell the business. You know, I'm going to be its owner until I die. And then fuck knows what's going to happen after that. I haven't quite figured that shit out yet. I should probably start thinking about it because God knows when I'm going to kick the bucket. But I'm going to go until I physically can't go any further.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still very, very hard knowing that there's so many things that I want the business to achieve that ain't going to happen in the time that I have left.
So let's wrap this up with promising ourselves that we are going to work a little bit more. We're going to do something for ourselves once a day. And I challenge everybody watching and listening to do something once a day just for you for no gain whatsoever. Whether it is reading 2 pages in a book before going to sleep, whether it is doom scrolling for 20 minutes for no purpose whatsoever. You know, I think that is a pretty decent idea. Even your hour walks, whether you do an hour walk today or whether you decide it's going to be reading something or sending me memes like you do. Like something that you do that makes you happy that has no real purpose. Because I think that will help everybody across the pond, here and there, be able to work on that work-life balance then.
So what are you going to do today then? As your one thing?
My one thing today, I have put down this book so many times and tried to pick it up multiple times. And I think it's a 10-book series. And I think I will carve out an hour tonight to pick it back up. Because there really is no purpose to this book other than for entertainment. So I think that's what I will do. What about you?
Well, I only have about 2 hours left today, so I'm probably going to take a mean shit and call it a night. And that'll be my thing to do that has no real gain other than self-pleasure in my ass. And on that note, we'll leave it there.
That's what I do. What?
Yeah,
I challenge everybody to comment, let us know what they do. No.
Why? You asking our viewers to hold in their fucking stool? That's not very nice.
No, I'm asking our viewers to make sure they wipe from front to back and not the other way around. Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
That yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, just get chocolatey nutsack. That's not very good.
We're just gonna get shirts that say that too. Avoid
chocolatey nutsacks. Yes, because that doesn't sound racist at all. Let's do it.
Oh,
let's get a batch of them created.
Yes. All right. Say goodbye, Matthew, because this has gone way off the rails again. Have a great day, everybody. Let us know what you're going to do for yourself today. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.